All right, let's talk about Fly Me to the Moon. Fly me to the moon. I got the old Blue Eyes, the chairman of the board in my head. That's not a bad thing. Fly Me to the Moon basically is like rom-com meets Capricorn 1. Well, anyway, it's kind of a clever concept, I guess. And this is a movie with great casting with one exception. I'm not going to knock Channing Tatum, but Channing Tatum, it's like there was that thing on Sesame Street or something. One of these things doesn't fit with the other. Casting was great. You had the pleasant surprise of seeing old friend Ray Romano on screen, and he really did a great job of taking you back to that time period with his look, his attitude, and you kind of forgot that's everybody loves Raymond Ray. He wasn't, I guess, the central character, but he was right there on the edge. You saw plenty of him. Woody Harrelson. I don't know if a casting director has ever made a mistake putting Woody in a film. And then we get over to more and more characters, and Scarlett Johansson, ScarJo. Just, there's something about her in this movie. You've seen her before, and it's as if it's the first time you saw her on screen. There is just every once in a while where someone is like those old Hollywood glory era screen sirens. She absolutely has that quality. She captures that, that late 60s look. The reason I watch like the original Star Trek and drool, well, better than that. She's just always ready for date night, and she has classic looks from the era. It's kind of like Mad Men with a woman instead of Don Draper in charge, because she's an advertising person who's, drafted by the folks in Washington to help boost the popularity of the space program, which is waning a little bit as they try to get to the moon, and they're fighting for funding and everything else. She's outstanding, and there is just a charm she has, and just a raw beauty, and she just, I don't know, really is convincing as someone from that time period. And then there's Channing Tatum. Channing Tatum fits a certain kind of film. Like, let's say Dog, or The Dog, or whatever it was, where he's like, ooh. That had some serious moments. He can have some serious acting chops, but, being some guy with gravitas, a launch director, man, that's not him. And, one commercial promoting this talks about chemistry. Well, there is no chemistry between Channing and ScarJo. I don't know if he freaked out because, there's a cameo from, the Mr. Johansson, a.k.a. Colin Jost, but Channing Tatum just is like a wood screw, or he's like a round screw fit into a square hole. I don't know. If you see it, you'll feel the same way, but I thought they had a great nostalgic feel going around that assembly building for NASA, and or at least something simulating that, but showing some outside shots. I love the tributes to the Apollo 1 astronauts. I don't think we do that enough. The three guys that died on the pad in a test. A lot of things to like about this movie. I kind of like the female character, kind of like the same reason I like Black Widow. But there's something about a bold woman who drives fast and fears no one. And there is, you talk about chemistry. Scarlett Johansson and Woody, they're not a love interest scenario couple. They're in a very awkward business deal. Let's call it that. ScarJo and Woody Harrelson are fantastic together. Just great. It's not a bad premise. It's kind of fun watching the. It's in the previews. It's in the trailers. It's no mystery. A part of this is they are faking the moon landing. They're really trying to land on the moon, but Woody Harrelson's character insists they create a moon soundstage and are prepared to show the world whatever they pre-produce, whether the mission to the moon works or not. And that really is executed well. Just a movie that I think in a lot of respects really makes you feel like you're back in the late 60s, but Channing Tatum looks like he does in every other movie. He might wear a throwback shirt, and there are moments where he just tries to be this authoritative figure, and it just doesn't work. So I think it's very watchable, but you sit there and think, if you could have had, I don't know, Ryan Reynolds or some other male lead, I think, of course, a lot of times we see Ryan Reynolds as sarcastic, like Deadpool. So it's been a while since I've seen him as this guy who can move to an all-serious role, but I know he can do it. There's just got to be somebody. I know there's kind of a shortage of leading men out there of a certain age, but boy, one casting decision really took this movie down a couple of notches. Still enjoyed it, 2 hours and 12 minutes. Glad they didn't rush it, but I think you'll enjoy parts. But the whole thing, So I'll give it 3 stars on a 5-star scale, and I'll give Scarlett 5 stars. Absolutely in the palm of her hand the entire 2 hours and 12 minutes. She just wowed me. And a great acting performance, too, as she played someone with a troubled upbringing and someone dealing with the fact that, looking in the mirror and saying, I'm a con artist. How do I get away from this? So, Fly Me to the Moon. Check it out. I don't think you'll be disappointed in a big way, but you might be a little skosh. One of those movies. You'll look at it and say, you know what, this could have been better.